Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Thank you very much for coming to the Hotel Palacio. We are very proud to host the conference on the theme Carol II of Romania, the Carol, the King of Culture, Worship of the King. Today also you are invited to visit the house of King Carol of Romania in Estoril. Thank you very much. And now I will introduce you to Mr. Daniel Nicolescu, the Director of the National Institute of Romania.
Os nossos convidados e a senhora Mihaela Georgescu de la France, historiadora, a sua Alteza Real, o Príncipe Charles d'Orléans, autor do livro Le Roi en Exil, e o Dr. Corneliu Lie, do Museu Nacional da História da Romênia, vou trazer pouco de luz nestes 60 anos que passaram da morte do rei Carol II.
Como já indicou o Sr. Diretor do Instituto Cultural, sou autor de um livro que foi publicado aqui em Portugal, chama-se Reis no Exílio, foi publicado pela Espera dos Livros, ainda podem encontrar se ainda não leram. O meu testemunho esta noite vai ser basicamente sobre como o rei Carol chegou aqui a Portugal e pouco a sua vida aqui em Portugal, sem entrar dentro dos detalhes, porque a nossa amiga Mihaela vai falar mais do aspecto da vida a vida, imagino, dentro da casa Marisol e o senhor professor da história geral do rei Carol. Isso é para uma introdução pouco sobre o personagem do rei Carol, que, como o diretor do Instituto Cultural disse, era personagem controvertido e mais interessante.
Carol II had the pleasure of attending large public events with thousands of people to give speeches and to be acclaimed. There were plenty of opportunities: the proclamations of the king, the anniversary of the Restoration, the anniversary of the proclamation of the Constitution after 1938, the birthday of the king, and so on.
I remember something of what Professor Elias said about Lucian Blaga, one of the Romanian intellectuals who were supportive of King Carol. And he also happened to be ambassador to Portugal in 1938, 1939. He lived in Hotel Palacio, and he started here to write. He's Romania's most famous philosopher, and probably had the Romanian language been an international language, he would have been well known. And Lucian Blaga said about this place, Estoril, that it was a kingdom of heaven coming to the earth, and it was. Unfortunately, for exiles, it is not always sunshine in this paradise. Now, I'm also glad that you took this aspect of his life, of his activity, of his reign, the cultural patron, the patron of culture in Romania. Because culture is very, very close to my heart. Those 10 years in which history books write, oh, these were very successful 10 years, everything reached this peak. Romanian industry, Romanian business, Romanian banking, Romanian building of buildings, Romanian art. As I said, my grandfather was instrumental in encouraging and also giving prizes to writers to write good literature. My grandfather would never publish something that he did not believe would enhance the virtues of the people. He would not publish trash. So these were the best years, I think, that our country has had until now, and we have not had any such. So for all of this, I think I do pay homage to this man, and I don't know if I'm happy or not. I did get to celebrate my 60th birthday in his house. But those of you who come to visit the house, I know very well what it is not to ever think that you will touch the land of your country. Also, when you are a person, I discover myself later having in common this with the king, that is very attached to the places of childhood, and they mean a lot to me, and I saw how much Romania and the places of his birth and of his living meant to him too. And this made him closer to me, and I looked at him with other eyes than the history has recordings of him. Now, when I took my master's in history at Harvard, I must confess that I knew less about Romanian history than I knew about American history. But now, you know, moving here, and which was totally unexpectedly, and I did not want to, I did not look for this apartment, but it came to me unexpectedly, and then a new world of knowing about Romanian history came with this, because a lot of people are interested in stopping by and finding out about the king. So I remember something of what Professor Ilie said about Lucian Blaga, one of the Romanian intellectuals who were supportive of King Carol. And he also happened to be ambassador to Portugal in 1938, 1939. He lived in Hotel Palacio, and he started here to write, he's Romania's most famous philosopher, and probably had the Romanian language been an international language, should have been well known. Lucian Blaga said about this place, Estoril, that it was a kingdom of heaven coming to the earth, and it was. Unfortunately, for exiles, it is not always sunshine in this paradise. Now, I'm also glad that you took this aspect of his life, of his activity, of his reign, the cultural patron, the patron of culture in Romania. Because culture is very, very close to my heart. I'm an educator, and probably I inherited from my grandfather, who was an editor during the time of King Carol, these 10 years. And during that time, my grandfather edited all of these writers you mentioned about. Cezar Petrescu, who was the director of the newspaper Romania. Right now, I'm working on his letters towards my grandfather, to get his works published, because he was at the beginning of his career. And my grandfather had sold rights to publishing Cezar Petrescu's works. Though I have hundreds of letters, I'm working for a biography of my grandfather's about it. So this, and my grandfather believed, and then I noticed myself inheriting this, that culture is not a feather to your hat. Culture is an instrument to raise, to elevate people's characters, to make out of, as many people as you can, an aristocracy of virtue. People had to be enlightened. People had to have access to education, of course, have to have access to whatever was best said and done in history, in the history of humanity. And if the king was was genuinely enamored by this, spread of culture, spread of education. To me, he's a very important personality and a very, very, and in this light, I will then see the way he lived in the house too, and the way he wrote all of these entries to his diary every day, long pages. This covers only 3 years. So I noticed that you have just come out with a book, The Other Face of the Communists, and I've not read it, but I'm going to try to read it. And I think that I will try to put another face to King Carol II now. As I have never thought that I would defend a man and I would look at him differently. A man who divorced his wife, who, it is true, fell in love with a woman who was his downfall. I think there was some lack of judgment, maybe that's why they were also isolated, and not as much because of the Catholic Church, but probably because this Elena Lupescu was a personality that not many people would like even today, normal people, not aristocracy. I would not want my sons to marry someone like her. So that was the difficulty. And but however important, she was very important during his reign. He had promised the country that he's not going to bring her back to Romania. He did bring her back to Romania. Then his cabinet, his government, many people of great standing in Romanian politics could not understand what she was doing there. She was instrumental in policy making, but I do not believe that that is because of her that they were thrown out of the country. It was because of losing Bessarabia. The loss of Bessarabia has to do, as you said, with ugly European games, both on the English and the French side, and Russian and the Soviet Union. So, and also I would like to say that his dictatorship, so-called dictatorship, is no way, I would not want you to think of, when you saw those uniforms, similar to a fascist dictatorship, to Franco's dictatorship, to no way. His dictatorship gave the right to vote, gave the right to vote to women, but he had to rein in the rise of fascism in Romania, and this, legionary movement was made of lots of assassins. They were assassinating political figures and cultural personalities. They were infesting young people's minds with fascist ideology, which is xenophobic, which is, and King Carol was not, he hated any extreme, whether fascist or communist too. So he had to oppose them, he had to rein them in, and that's why he installed dictatorship. It was an authoritarian rule. But he lost and he was thrown out of the country, also because the majority of the Romanian people did not like Elena Lupescu. They don't like her today. And on top of all her vices and whatever she has, they amassed a lot of intrigues and a lot of lies and a lot of, so it's our history, unfortunately, is awash with this sort of untruths, both about them, him and her. Now, he and her, if I go to the two of them and I look at the way they lived in the house where the walls do not talk, I wish they talked, but they don't talk. So what I have a feeling I know about him today is from his diary, from the daily recordings of their lives there. I don't know, no one has said that when they left, so he left Urdereanu, is Ernest Urdereanu, This man is also hated. He was his chamberlain. This man is also hated by the Romanian people because they all think that he and Elena Lupescu had something together, and the two of them made policy, and not the king. So they left, the three of them left together. Ernest Urdereanu met his wife, Monique, whom I met, and a very nice woman, also accidentally, having nothing to do with my later moving into the house. So he met her in Mexico, then they moved to Cuba, and then they moved to, and Monique came with her sister Niket too, and the four of them, no, the five of them moved to Brazil, where on her deathbed in 1947, Elena Lupescu asked him to marry her because she did not want to die unmarried. He was despaired. He married her. They had a civil wedding. No witnesses, just Ernest Urdereanu, Monique, and Niket. And 2 days later, she was as new. She was very healthy. Then in this house, there was no day in which she doesn't talk about all her medical problems. There is no part of our body that she did not have a problem with one day or another. Either she had problems with her teeth, her eyes, her head, her hips, her shoulders, the servants. She always had problems. And the first thing he starts the day writing is about Duduya. Duduya is not feeling well today. He's so caring about her that it almost feels when we read it, but I do have patience with him, and because I think he was a good man, and an enlightened man, and a creative person, and an imaginative person, and for all of this I forgive him, because near this woman he behaves like Romeo, like young Werther, he just loses judgment, and he's always concerned about her health. So every day she's sick, and then he dies of a broken heart, probably. I believe it's a broken heart. He dies before he's going to be 60, and she lives 24 more years. And I don't know if anyone reported her sicknesses after that. I don't know. There is a neighbor of mine, whom I befriended later, who told me she died in my arms, and she was a nice old lady, and she was so. She might have been, but I think that all his care about her and all his, he cared about everybody. He is concerned about their friends' health, about the people in Romania. Oh, he's concerned about everything. He's concerned about the political scene of Europe, of America, of what Dean Acheson does, about the fall of China, about the beginning of the war in Korea. Every page that he writes, the first is Duduya with her shoulders and her migraines, and then is the international scene, and then he's concerned about normal people, friends of theirs, just like we do about each other. I did not feel any moment in any of his writings that he's a megalomaniac or that he is an authoritarian in any way, so I don't know why he liked those uniforms. He doesn't appear such in his relationship with people. He's kind to the servants, she's not. She wants the servants to bow in front of her and make curtsies, and he's kind with everybody. He was very concerned about George Enescu, for instance. George Enescu is Romania's most famous composer and musician, and there are many pages here about him and Olga de Cadaval, related to you, who was also patron of the arts here in Portugal. The two of them trying very hard to make a festival here so that George Enescu would have some money, some income at the end of his life. Why George Enescu, who was Yehudi Menuhin's teacher and Yehudi Menuhin writes marvelous things about him. Why he came towards the end of his life in Paris to be poor and dejected and not have concerts, I don't know. But so Karol was very concerned about him and wanted to help him, wanted to help everybody all the time. To me, this is another phase of a man who probably was not educated to be a king. Probably you need other, Edward VIII of England was probably not educated to be a king. But while he was a king, I believe that he genuinely was proud to be Romanian, which I get tears in my eyes, because I have so many Romanian friends who are not proud to be Romanians. They don't want to go back to the places of their childhoods.
I'm proud.
Excuse me?
I'm proud.
What? Then we have one minute. Oh, okay. Would you like to come then? Good for you.
Everybody who's proud, raise your hands.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you said I'm proud. I thought you were okay. Oh, I'm very proud. I mean, not proud in the sense of proud American, because I lived in America a long time. My children are Americans, are in America, but not that kind of pride. It's the pride. By the way, his interest in tradition, in Romanian tradition, in the Romanian village, he founded the Museum of the Romanian Village. And I just came from Stockholm, and Sweden has a wonderful museum of the village, and the Museum of the Romanian Peasant. He founded it too. So, this attraction to the Romania's, perennial Romania's traditions, Prince Charles of England has it today. Guess what? Prince Charles of England is buying property in Romania. He has about eight houses there now in Transylvania. And he makes a lot of publicity for the Romanian countryside, from where, our most famous Blaga, for instance, and musicians gathered the substance of their art, Our composers, we have a composer, Tiberiu Brăticeanu, who gathered at the same time with Bela Bartok, but I think Bela Bartok gathered his music also from Transylvania, by the way. And Tiberiu Brăticeanu with Blaga, this philosopher, they went into the Romanian countryside in Transylvania, where Prince Charles today says that this is the last spiritual corner of Europe. If there is any such thing, then he finds it only there, and he likes to go there. So Karol's love of these sort of things makes me believe that he was a very special person. Great sensitivity, and probably this was his downfall too. He was too sensitive to whatever happened around him, and too sensitive towards a woman that did not deserve that by any means. But, Portugal has its Pedro and Inês de Castro. England has Edward and Wallis Simpson, and we have Karol and this Elena Rupescu. We don't know what his life would have been if he hadn't met her or whatever. So for those 10 years in which history books write, these were very successful 10 years, everything reached this peak. Romanian industry, Romanian business, Romanian banking, Romanian building of buildings, Romanian art. As I said, my grandfather was instrumental in encouraging and also giving prizes to writers to write good literature. My grandfather would never publish something that he did not believe would enhance the virtues of the people. He would not publish trash. So these were the best years, I think, that our country has had until now, and we have not had any such. So for all of this, I think I do pay homage to this man, I don't know if I'm happy or not. I did get to celebrate my 60th birthday in his house. Those of you who come to visit the house, you will see there are the same round tables. I was told by Monique Urderano, the same round tables he had there, otherwise the house is redecorated. And he did not get this. He was preparing in 1953 his 60th bash, but he didn't get it. And nobody, I got it in his house. So, now, quite a few from you here have seen the house. There is nothing more that I think I will say there than you know already and have. But the ones who have not seen the house could not go. The ones who have not seen the house should come with me if you're interested. And I will show you the walls and how we live, how we share this house. Now, this house is shared by 24 people who own apartments built around them. The house had, maybe I'll say a little more there, the house had a tennis court, he used to play tennis, had a garden, he used to work a lot in the garden, his garden was not good enough, so he's writing here how he would gather 2 bagfuls of snails, so his vegetables would not be touched. He worked a lot on his stamp collection, which brought them $43,000 in 1951 or 1915. A very good. I think he had that Moldavian stamp that appears in Charade, in one of the films with Peter O'Toole and Audrey Hepburn. There is a film in which they chase someone who invested everything in that door, the boar, and he had it, and he sold it there, at least in London. He had 2 palaces, one in Nice and one in Normandy, which he sold during this time. He sent Elena Lupescu to sell them. For reason or another, he did not think he could leave the country. He did not have a passport. I think it is worth knowing about people like this, even if they're not kings. People like this should be popularized, because he had the heart in the right place, I think. And now I'm going to be your guest, your hostess at the house. It's on Rua do Alentejo 4. Eu falo português também, mas eu escolhi falar inglês. Eu peço desculpas a todos que não entenderam, mas talvez se eles querem eu posso falar com eles separado, em português. Okay? So, thank you so much.
As I told you before, now you are invited to go to the corridors and to the Royal Portrait Gallery to see the pictures if you want, and then have a glass of nice Romanian wine. And then thank you very much.